Okay, guys, in this video I will go through some questions that a customer had because they are somewhat interesting and it's worthwhile for everybody to see how I answer. And it's probably something that many people wonder about, so why not? Okay, so he says, I understand if I have an on-grid, I will still be subject to power cuts, and I understand the reason why. That's true. If he has a system without batteries, he will not have power when there is a power cut. Yes, you must have batteries to have power during power cuts. I understand it would take my lifetime possibly to see any actual profit, if any, but that's not the concern. Actually, that's not true. Well, it depends how long you think you have to live, but normally on systems without batteries, they have a payback now around 4 to 5 years. So unless you're planning to live shorter than that, you will definitely see you will see payback after about 4 or 5 years. So, but this of course depends on your use of electricity. If your use of electricity is very low, then it's a different story. You need to have a certain amount of use of electricity to be able to benefit reasonably from it. That's just the way solar works. Very small systems have much longer return of investment. So, and the bigger systems have a better return of investment. It's like that. A 5 kilowatt on-grid system is approximately 139 kbaht. We start at 169 with 5 kilowatt, so we are a little bit more expensive. But when you compare prices from different companies and stuff, obviously you have to compare the equipment properly. You have to know exactly what they are doing, the quality from start to finish with everything, with the pipes, with the cables, where do they get the cables from, the inverter, what kind of quality is it, and will they help you when you have a problem or if the inverter fails, you know? So price is of course important, but there are many other things. What are the exact warranties on each particular piece? So the panels that we use right now, they have 15 years warranty. Sometimes we have panels that have 12 years warranty. But of course there are some things that's not covered. So let's say somebody throws stones at your panels, that's not covered. So it has to be something wrong with the panel from the factory, production fault. So that's important to understand, and that's why it's a good question. So it's very important to understand how warranties work and what is covered and what is not. And unfortunately, if you go with a bad company, it's going to be pretty bad because the company that installed will not help you. And how are you going to get hold of the manufacturer or the supplier? All these things. So it is a very good question. And in terms of panels, it's 12 to 15 years. That's what we call the manufacturer warranty. Somebody confused that with the linear production warranty, which is normally now 30 years. So make sure that you understand the difference. Basically, the linear production warranty is about the warranty of how the production is going to change over the lifetime of the panels. So, but people sometimes misunderstand and mix up those warranties. So make sure. I can't go in depth to explain what that is right now, but make sure that you see the difference there. And it will say linear production warranty, and then that's not the same as a manufacturer warranty for the product. So make sure you understand that. What length of time is the system actually covered by a company's warranty? Well, we always help you. This is our policy. We always help you to fix a manufacturer warranty, or to claim it, or to talk to the supplier or manufacturer. Doesn't matter when. So let's say that your inverter has a 5-year warranty. It breaks down after 3 years. We will help you to talk to the supplier, get a new inverter in. So that's our job, even though the warranty for our work, meaning cables and connectors and things like that, is normally only 1 year. We're thinking about extending it to 2 years now, because we basically never see any problems within 2 years either. So on the average. But anyway, it's cables and connectors and things like that is 1 year warranty. But we still help you. So it's good to take the inverter as an example. Let's say our inverter breaks down after 3 years. Let's say that we talk to the supplier, we find out that most likely it was a bad unit, or at least we couldn't figure out that it was some external factor. Then it's covered by the manufacturer, and you get a new inverter. But the work that is connected with that change to a new inverter, that's not covered. That you have to pay for. That's only 1 year that we cover that. But that cost is not big. So it can be 5,000, it can be 7,000, depending on where you live. But that's not covered after 3 years. So that's a good example to understand the difference there. But we don't make a lot of money on those fees, but we do have to cover our costs. So that's a good differentiation there. And all the different parts have different warranties there. So that's how we help the customers with these things. But if you select a bad company and base a lot of your decision on pricing alone, without really knowing how they're going to support you, or that they're actually going to answer the phone and understand English, then this is the kind of problems that you will have. Like after 3 years, you can't get to them, they are not there, they will not help you, they say that it's not their fault, blah, blah, blah. And then you end up with, you have to fix the problem yourself. So that's a lot of the value in having a good company, of course. So, and another thing is that when you select a system based on quality of equipment also, the likelihood that something like that will happen is a lot less, of course. So what do you as a company give to me that other companies don't? Well, we have been touching on many of the things already, I think. But to summarize, it's the number one is the English, so we can plan, make a configuration properly that I think probably not all other companies will do, like properly go through all the factors and your goals, and I will give you honest advice about, I will not try to sell you something you don't need. So I will really figure out what your situation is and give you a good quote, so that you are not buying something you don't need. Now that's number one. And that we have been in business now for, I mean, the company was started in 2017, and we have done close to 100 installations now. And we have a history showing that we help customers. We have never let a customer be alone in any situation. There was one situation where after many years, there was a customer that suddenly had problems with his Wi-Fi, and he said that we were supposed to fix that for free. We cannot. Because when a system has worked for a long time, suddenly there's a problem with the Wi-Fi, nothing has changed in the system, Who knows what has changed with the Wi-Fi? I don't know, but we cannot do things like that for free. So there is a limit, of course, with what we can help with. And maybe the customer will not understand that, but we also have to set limits at some point, because if not, we're gonna go bankrupt. So there is a limit to what we can do, but we are very reasonable, and as long as customers are reasonable, we help them a lot, and so that's no problem. So I think that's a difference between our company and at least many others. I can't say all, because there are other good companies too, of course. So, but that's also important for you as a customer to compare with different companies that sell the same system. So, where are they located? Do they have support in your area? If you live in Isan, it's obviously on. Let's say you live in a city like Mahasarakam. There's only local companies that are not big and don't have expertise on, for example, the Alpha system that you can get installations from. But so then you have to compare with what we have. We have a manager in Kasin, very close to Mahasarakam. He can actually reach most cities in Isan within reasonable time. But it's also, what I'm getting at is that when you compare, there are so many things to compare. Like if you compare our battery system Alpha with that we sell the most, or almost only now. I'm not saying we're only going to be doing that in the future, but we do it a lot. If you compare that with a cheaper system with, for example, gel batteries that you can get for maybe 100,000, you can't compare at all, because gel batteries last only a few years. The lithium batteries that Alpha makes last 20 years. And, the warranties are different. Absolutely everything is different. So you have to have some knowledge to actually be able to compare properly. But at least let's say that you are interested in Alpha system. You can also check what other companies will charge you for Alpha system. And because there are only authorized dealers that can install Alpha, so then you can compare with other companies that can do that, depending on your area. And then you will see, and you can conclude and see what all the companies can benefit from. But the most important is when you compare, to give a fair comparison, because you have to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Other things is not. I'm not saying it's not wrong to buy a cheap battery system. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that many people get buyer's remorse, because they buy something that they think is going to work in a certain way, and then it doesn't. Just because the batteries last a few years, then it's finished. Alarms come on, it doesn't work. It's been set up wrong. Maybe not an ATS, maybe some other thing. And then the system doesn't work. It absolutely lacking major functionality. And then people are stuck in with the system they can't use. This happens a lot, much more than people think, because there's so much knowledge you must have to be able to understand what the companies are telling you. And that's why we have the YouTube channel, so you can educate yourself, and so you can get the better starting point, both to evaluate our products and to evaluate other products. So I'm not opposed to DIY at all, or cheap systems. I'm just trying to make people understand that cheap systems are not necessarily good, and they are, in many cases, bad. And that to evaluate systems, you have to be able to understand the differences between different companies and products and models and everything, how it works. And it's not easy. I understand that. And that's why people have to, usually have to put in some effort to be able to compare. Now, of course, what we do is to try to work over time to prove that we actually have happy customers and that we take care of them and that the products we have are good and the warranties are good. So there's that. I think the history of what you have done speaks for itself. But you can also go to customers that have our systems and see, and many of them are open to that. I know that. And you can also visit our office. And so, okay, doke, I hope that helps a little bit.